Let's take a hop, skip, and a jump through time when Forge and Bishop are recruited for a time-hopping adventure to stop an abomination that eats pivotal moments. If it succeeds, it'll wipe out all mutants from the timeline. Can Forge and Bishop stop the abomination before they're chewed up and spit out? Let's find out in Timeslide number 1 from Marvel Comics. See you at 3. Welcome back to Comical Opinions. This is our review of Timeslide number 1 from Marvel Comics. This issue is written by Steve Fox with art by Ivan Fiorelli, colors by Frank D'Armata, letters by VC's Joe Caramagna. So what's it all about? Timeslide number 1 begins with Bishop in the present chasing down a mutant energy vampire named Emplate. This is after the fall of Krakoa. Bishop appears to have his hands full, but he receives an unexpected help from Tempest, or at least a version of Tempest from the future who needs Bishop's help. Bishop agrees to help stop what Tempest describes as an unraveling of time that threatens the existence of all mutants. But before they can begin, the two travel to the year 3077 to find and recruit Cable for the same purpose. What's their mission? They have to stop a being called Vacuna. It looks very much like the word vacuum, created by the Children of the Vault, who can jump through and eat moments in time. If Vacuna can consume enough pivotal moments in mutant history, the timeline will eventually repair itself without mutants, effectively wiping mutant kind from the time stream. Why would the Children of the Vault do this? The formal explanation is to prevent mutants from interfering with their evolution. The real explanation is that Marvel needed a convenient way to have Bishop and Cable hop through time to tease the upcoming events in assorted titles for the year 2025. In short, the basic plot doesn't really matter much. The value of this issue is in the hints and the Easter eggs about upcoming stories, of which some are announced and we already know, others are conceptual and may change. So there's a list here, but it may not be 100% done deal. The big list comes by way of an older Bronze from Exceptional X-Men who encounters Bishop and Cable in a not-so-distant future when the heir of Apocalypse finished what his predecessor started. What's on that list? Well, if you want it neatly encapsulated, it comes by way of this one page, which is included in the written review, which we'll also put up on the screen. If you're listening along, go to the YouTube channel or go to the written review and you'll see a capture here. In no particular order, we have the 8 deaths, which are the 8 deaths of Spider-Man. That miniseries is already almost at the halfway point, so we're already in process. We have One World Under Doom, which is the forthcoming Doctor Doom takes over the world as the new Sorcerer Supreme. Crossover event, if you will, that's already in place. Rise of the New Champions. I think that one's been announced, and there was, if I believe, some concept art related to that team of new heroes. The Eternal Storm, which is a storm-centric event or one-shot or mini-series. I believe that's something that's coming up in February for Black History Month. That's fine. The False Metal, that could be a reference to the goldish or bronzish colored sentient metal that's attacking Wolverine in his current ongoing series right now from the X-Office. We have Who Waits Within the Last Egg. There is one tease in this issue where we see that there's one more egg left over from the fall of Krakoa. We don't know who it's in, and presumably there's going to be some storyline there. Strange of Asgard. This has also been announced. This is the storyline where Doctor Strange, who is now no longer the Sorcerer Supreme of Earth, has decided he's going to go to Asgard and see if he can become their Sorcerer Supreme. I'm not sure if it's ever been set as a precedent that Asgard has a Sorcerer Supreme, but there we go. Galactic Leaders Assassinated. I have no idea what that's about. Maybe that's something that's going to come up. We'll see. The Time of Strife. That's also a, I guess, placeholder storyline that we don't know much about, but we'll see where that goes. Dormammu Invasion of Earth. Presumably that's centered around Dormammu. We have Ms. Marvel Second Genesis. Now this could be something related to the Ms. Marvel title itself, or something titled Second Genesis where Ms. Marvel plays a central character. We will find out. We have Ultimate Incursion, which could be the name of the crossover event where all the Ultimates titles come together to deal with the return of the Maker, or it could be something that's going to happen a little bit before, or it could be something that happens after. Who is the Man with the Hammer? That presumably has something to do with Thor, and maybe something to do with somebody not the traditional Thor character taking over the mantle of the hammer. The Ghost Fist Walks. That sounds like it's something related to Iron Fist. Where is Spider-Man? Presumably he's going to disappear, and if the stars align, or if anybody's at all listening, hopefully they'll disappear from the hands of Nick Lowe. What became of Emily Knight? That last part is obscured because Bronze's hand is over that last name. I'm presuming it's Knight, but maybe I could be wrong. The Will of Doom. This is probably a follow-up to the Doom event where it's one world under Doom, so maybe there's something that's happening as a fallout from that particular event. Utgard Rising. Utgard, for those not in the know, is the name of one of the 9 realms that we usually see through Thor, so that could be related to Al Ewing's current Thor run, or it could be something completely different. We have Age of Revelation. We don't know exactly what's going on with that, but there could be some sort of X title going on there. Beware the Spider-Woman. More titles for the Spider Office. That's not a surprise. Who would trade away immortality? That could be related to the Immortals characters, or there was a recently announced Jonathan Hickman title that's coming up called Imperial, which also may be related to the Immortals. We don't know for sure, but we'll see. Then you have an event called XVX, which is presumably 2 X teams going at it against each other. And then the last one on the list is 3K Gene Bomb, which one would assume anyway, that this is related to the mysterious cabal known as the 3K group, which has been very lightly referenced in Jed McKay's X-Men run. So it's a long list, some of which may come to pass, others may not, but at least the top 5 or 6 or so have already been announced as titles, and we're going to see them maybe in 2025, maybe spilling over into 2026. We shall see. Hey, do you want to be part of our growing community and get exclusive perks? Become a channel member today. By becoming a member, you'll support a channel you love, which is ours because everybody loves it, but you'll also gain access to special badges, emojis, and members-only content. Click the join button below to become part of our family and help us create more of the content you enjoy. Now let's get back to the review. So first impressions, when it comes to these once-a-year time-jumping centric type of issues, it really comes down to, is the juice worth the squeeze? For most readers, probably not in this case. Timeslide #1 by writer Steve Fox is the next once-a-year issue that wraps teases for forthcoming storylines within a standalone story, so its value lies in what you're looking for. If you wanted a kick-ass X-Men type story, X-related type story, the convenient narrative plot holes won't grab you by the short hairs. This is not a masterful story by any stretch. But if you're super curious about what Marvel is cooking, you get it all pretty much in that one page that we just described above. And that's all you need to know. So the question for you then becomes, is that one page worth $6.99 cover price, which this issue is? I'm betting for a lot of people, not. All right, so let's talk about the positives and negatives, starting with what's great about Timeslide #1. I'll give Steve Fox this much credit. Vacuna, or I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce that, could be a ridiculously dangerous villain within the right context. Steve Fox's creation has the potential to be Marvel's answer to Doomsday in the DC universe. Every time you kill him, he comes back a little bit stronger, which is the makings of a really, potentially very threatening or dangerous villain. With a little bit more spit and polish and even some personality, because the villain here has no personality. He's just basically a villain where you wind him up and let him go. There's no personality to speak of. So maybe if you give him one and put some more spit and polish, he has some really, really strong potential here as a threat to the entire Marvel universe. So what's not great about Timeslide #1? To be blunt, Steve Fox's plot is weak. If Tempest needed help destroying an entity that can eat moments in time, why would she tap 2 mutants who are primarily weapons experts and hand-to-hand fighters? Yes, Bishop and Cable have power sets of their own, but their tactical strengths lie in physical combat. So even though she does provide a strategic explanation because they have some history with the Children of the Vault, if you're looking to go up against a time-destroying villain, these are probably not your first choices. The second weak point is basically something you would file under the heading of lost opportunities. There are 2 scenes where Tempest is shown against a backdrop of shards where time is sort of fracturing and you get little snippets or little visual imprints of things that are happening in alternate timelines in the future, in the past, and what have you. So there was an opportunity here to show off future character concept designs and get some creative juices flowing, some curiosity, build up some hype, as it were. And that didn't happen here. If readers are going to pay $6.99 for a teaser one-shot, you want to cram in as many weird, esoteric, confusing, hype building opportunity as possible here. And to be honest, Marvel squandered too many of the pages by including stuff that we already know about and we've already seen. Let's switch gears and talk about the art for a second. Ivan Fiorelli gives readers powerful figure work, strong dramatics, and well-done action. The concept in particular of Vacuna's power set, if that's how you pronounce his name, looks pretty interesting. He sort of does this thing where he opens his mouth, but then it opens down to his throat, and in a strange sort of way, he gets the impression of a bullfrog, which sounds weird when you're talking about it, but on the page, it looks kind of interesting, sort of almost vampiric in nature. Some readers may be weirded out by a villain who acts like a time-eating bullfrog, but here, it's original, looks pretty darn good, and again, that villain has potential in maybe some more, I will say, experienced hands. So final thoughts, what do you think about Timeslide #1 from Marvel Comics? It's the annual event that teases what's to come in 2025 and beyond. Maybe. Wrapped in a paper-thin plot that centers on a new villain with potentially, well, I would say a lot of potential. Let's put it that way. Steve Fox's script barely holds together, but even Fiorelli's art looks great. And if all you want are the 2025 teases from Marvel, maybe with a few concepts that go beyond that, you'll get what you pay for. But at $6.99, that's a pretty hefty cover price. Therefore, Timeslide #1 earns a 5.8 out of 10. It does what it needs to do, which is basically tease what's going to happen in 2025. But if you're looking for a kick-ass story and things to get you excited about other than a few snippets here and there, there's really not much to warrant the $6.99 cover price. But what do you think? Are you looking forward to these once-a-year titles from Marvel that kind of gives you a little bit of a clue, a little bit of a taste of what's happening in the year to come? Leave a thumbs up if you found this review helpful, and drop a comment below with which upcoming event, whether it's formally announced or maybe even teased on that one page that's included here, kind of gets your short hairs up a little bit. Also, remember to click on the link in the description to read the written review, check out the variant covers and preview pages, and buy this comic to help support the channel. Your support, of course, is greatly appreciated, so thank you very much for joining. Make sure to click the like and join the channel below, and stay tuned through the outro for more reviews just like this one.